talking about the region and the globe at large, looking at the numbers of individual investors, locally you have quite a sizable number.
Yeah.
Looking at the East African individual investors, we're playing 8,000 thereabout. And foreign investors, individual investors, 13,000.
Yes.
Yeah, and this number has been changing by 30, 60 over the quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, looking now at, more platforms coming in, innovation that is happening at the bourse. We're talking about day trading, all this. We expect these numbers to go up not only locally, but also regionally. And
I think so. I think those numbers will go up. And there are a few things that I think could also really spur that. And I think is, we talk about digitizing and technology. But I think once we get a few little hurdles in terms of, opening a CDSE account, make that digital. And once you do that, it's as seamless as easy because you can sit in your chair or in your car in traffic and open a CDSE account because you thought, there was something really interesting that you heard about on the radio or you read about and you want to participate in that investment. So I think once we get the technology side of account opening, account maintenance, etc., open, and it can happen, and it does happen in other parts of the world, so it's not impossible. Then I think you'll get those numbers will grow astronomically because it'll be very easy to open. And Kenya's lucky in the sense that verifying identity is very easy to do. There are systems that do it instantly, and also you've got M-Pesa. You've got mobile money transactions, so the sort of movement of money is seamless. So I think that's very interesting. And for example, I don't know whether you know, but you can use your bongo points to actually buy shares on the stock exchange. So if you open an account with us and you have bongo points, you can use your bongo points to actually create a monetary value and then trade off that. Wow. So you see there are interesting things going on that we're now working with Safaricom to do that. So I think that's a very interesting sort of development.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, actually. I'll have to check how much bongo points I have.
Exactly. I did the same thing as well, because you're like, oh, wow, okay. Maybe I didn't know what to do with them, but you could buy some shares.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really democratizing retail, trading, anyone can do it. Yeah.
Definitely. And there's always this cloud hovering over the market. You touched on it, high net worth. I need to have a lot of money. I mean, when somebody comes on this platform, EFG Hermes one, what's the minimum amount they can spend on?
It's a very good question. And it's a question we get a lot because there is this view that the stock market is a rich man's market. But actually it couldn't be furthest from the truth. And ultimately each counter has a different price. So Kenya Re might be trading at 2 shillings, BAT may be over 400 shillings. So in a sense, if you have 100 shillings, then you can't buy one share of BAT because just that's the price of the share. But you could buy quite a few of Kenya Re. So my point is that you could buy 100 shares of Kenya Re. That's not a problem. And on our app, we're allowing you to do odd lots, so you can buy small number of shares. So you could buy 200 shillings worth of Kenya Re shares. Or something trading at 1 shilling, you could do the same thing. At the same time, you could probably buy 1 share of BAT if you wanted. So the point is that the entry point is really just limited by what stock you find is interesting and what that reference price is and how much of those shares you can afford. Now, eventually, and you see this in other markets, you end up with fractional types of share ownerships where people can buy fractions of shares. Those are some of the innovations that eventually may come here. So, globally, if you look at some shares trade at a very high notional value. So look at like Berkshire Hathaway, for example, in the US. Very few people can afford 1 share, but then you can fractionally own these things. So I think the technology factor is very big and could allow people to trade. But for the most part, most stocks are trading, have share prices that are below 50 shillings on a notional basis. So I think you can afford a lot
Yeah, that's true. And the accompanying, the user interface, user interaction, the features inside these online platforms that you're creating. Essentially, it boils down to how easy I can navigate myself through this particular product, and how easy is it for me to get information that is compatible to me making decisions. So merging things up. In this particular app that you guys have, this space, does it bring that convergence of all these resources?
We deliberately created an interface that was very simple looking and very clean. And the idea is that you can chart a stock, so you can actually see how the price has been moving over time. You can also see market depth, so you can actually see how many bids and offers are in the markets. You can see how many buyers and how many sellers there are, and at what price points that they're at. So you can have an idea of a sense of how big that market is for that counter. Obviously, a name like Safaricom or Equity Bank will have a lot more people looking at it than, say, something like Kakuzi, for example. So you can look at that and you can see what's going on. Now, as we develop the app, yes, certainly, because in markets like Egypt, for example, we have a whole team of people who sit there and make videos and summarize stuff and create product for retail to invest. So I think ultimately that's where we're getting to, where you will have all the information on your fingertips. Now, a retail investor is unlikely to want to sit and read a 100-page report on a bank.
Yes.
That's more for the institutional. So over time, you start to summarize that and have maybe a one-pager, summarize your views, have your top picks, have your sells, etc. Have technical trading signals, as we do in other markets like Pakistan, for example, where retail is big. So people look at the index and they say, okay, it's come to this point. Maybe there's a trigger. Maybe we should sell. Maybe we should buy. Those are all the sort of value addition products that we will have on this system.
I mean, looking at the investment landscape vis-a-vis the overall economy, always we're told investment is a fraction for majority of people, especially retail investors, is a fraction of income. Looking at the overarching economic situation that we found ourselves into, how has that impacted these individual investors, and what is the projection?
People should look at investing as also savings as well, not just spending money. So you actually are putting money aside. Right. I think for a long time, for a lot of people, they thought buying a plot of land was a sensible investment. And it is a sensible investment. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you suddenly have issues where the title, for example, is a bit unclear or is not clean, or maybe it's a public utility, or maybe it's a scam or something. If you buy one share of EABL on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, no one tomorrow is going to come and say to you, that's my share, because you bought it. It's traded, it's electronically moved, and it's moved from their custody account into your custody account, and it's in your possession legally. No one can dispute that. And that's the beauty of the market. And I think people should see that. Yes. And I think ultimately people should also see that the market is a slow game. You buy and you keep buying, you keep adding. I mean, we talk about, it's a bit like a pension fund. So I think that's an important part of your investment activity, to think about it as your pension pot, as your savings pot, where you're getting dividends, for example, every month, every year, every half year, etc.
Okay.
And the other aspect of it also is that you can have it as a savings, but you can also have it as a speculative activity as well. And the difference with buying a piece of land is that you could buy it today, but tomorrow you can't sell it. But maybe it takes you a year or 2 years to sell the piece of land and realize your capital gain. But you have lawyers' fees, you have conveyancing fees, you have all sorts of stuff to do.
Yes.
Whereas a stock, you buy it today, settles in 3 days, it's in your possession, you sell it the next day.
Sure.
And maybe you've gained 10% or 20% or whatever that movement may have been.
Yes.
So I think there's a lot of educating people to think about just how seamless and easy it is to accumulate wealth and also to monetize wealth.
Okay.
Because there's being wealthy, but then there's being illiquid. You know, in a stock market, you're liquid. You know, the stock price is your current wealth at that one moment, and you can sell it, and there will be a buyer on the other side.
Definitely.
And the price is easily negotiated, and it's within a certain bound. It can't be above a certain point. It can't be below a certain point. So you're more or less protected in that sense.
Definitely.
So it's we just need to sort of revive that magic and that faith. And this is, you know, going back to your previous point, what we see in other markets like Vietnam. You know, I'll give you Vietnam as a classic example where value traded on a daily basis is hitting somewhere around $1 billion. 90% of that is retail, Vietnamese domestic retail. Okay. So they're trading $900 million a day.
Okay.
So it's it can be big. It can be big. And Vietnam's 80 million people, so it's not a massively, you know, it's not a population game. It's just that there's more activity and more faith in that market.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's
and we hope that, you know, using EFG Hermes One, people will be able to interact with the platform and get to try it out. I mean, that's the first step.
The first step.
See how it turns out.
And very excitingly enough, I saw that today there's been talk of a linkage between different African exchanges, but it looks like now the platform is going to be developed. You see, ultimately, that would be very interesting because sitting in Nairobi as an investor with our app, you could decide, I want to trade the Casablanca market, or I want to trade Mauritius, or I want to trade Nigeria, because these markets will be interconnected. And of course, we'll dovetail into that type of thing. Indeed. So I think suddenly your investment horizon, so if you're looking at telcos, let's say, you're not just looking at Safaricom, you're looking at MTN Ghana, you're looking at MTN Nigeria, MTN Rwanda, you're looking at Sonatel, Moroctel, you know, so suddenly your investment world is much, much, much larger.
Definitely.
Your pool of liquidity much larger. And your ability to also make those transactions, be it speculative, much bigger, and you can make relative calls on different stocks in the different markets. So it goes back to what I'm saying. So as the regulators, as the NSE grows, as their technology gets better, then our technology will follow suit and our products will broaden.
Definitely, and that's the beauty of technology.
That's the beauty of technology.
Thank you very much for your time.
Of course.
Wow. Muathi Kilonzo, Head of Equities EFG Hermes Kenya, on liberalizing the market by using technology and also resparking that, sort of bringing back the spark that we had back in 2007 when it came to the market. That could be done digitally, as majority of us work digitally from home. With that said, thank you very much for watching Trading Bell. Right now, actually, we want to take a look at the markets, shall we?